that was sent to me day before yesterday, I think. Good morning, Miss Bronson. So, okay, I'm switching from conversation to enrollment so I can keep an eye on who's here. And I'm going to turn off my video, save a little bit of bandwidth out here in BFE. All right, so here's the question. It's the same question. So 3.255/11. And I have covered this, but I haven't covered it because you are going to use things from chapter 2 and things from algebra 2 and algebra 1 to do this. All right, it is a good test question. I don't mind putting this on the test. So there's the question. And it says, find the quadratic equation that fits the given conditions. Use a times x minus h quantity squared plus k and express in the quadratic form. And there is the 2 things, 2 points. They want you to find the quadratic equation that goes with those 2 points. I'd just go ahead and quit. I wouldn't even try it. It's too hard, right? So let's go ahead and pull up the handy dandy sheet. And let's write down our information. Our information is, we got a vertex of -3, -4. And it goes through the point 5 and 124. And we are going to use our intercept form to start off the problem. F of x is equal to a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. That's the standard form of, that's the intercept form. Hold on just a second. Okay, had to move something in the kitchen, sorry. All right, so we got these 2 right here. I'm going to rewrite this. F of x is equal to a times x minus parentheses plus parentheses. And we're going to take, I'm going to try to highlight for y'all because I'm a wonderful teacher. There's -3. -3 is going to go right there. And -4 is going to go right there. And y'all knew that because y'all know vertical and horizontal shifts from chapter 2. And you also know when we get completing the square, this is what we get. So that's a -3 and a -4. So our equation in intercept form for this line is f of x is equal to a times x plus h, x plus 3, quantity squared minus 4. And to find our vertex, we take the opposite of this and we bring this down. So that is our equation But oh, wait a minute. We don't have one thing. What do we not have? We don't have A. So that means we've got to find A using the point. Well, f of x is a fancy way of writing y. So we're just going to rewrite this. And I'm going to rewrite it. Go y is equal to a times x plus 3 quantity squared minus 4. And now I'm going to take my handy dandy yellow marker, and that's going to go there. And my handy dandy orange marker, orange, and that's going to go there. And you feel good about yourself. So that's 124 is equal to A times 5 plus 3 quantity squared minus 4. All right, I want y'all to finish that. Now, I got a question for some of y'all bridge students. I got a question. How are you and your bridge students, fellow bridge students, how are you acclimating to the courses at Tri-County? How is the transition? Any bridge students want to elaborate? Okay, nobody's going to talk to me. I got to switch over to the conversation so I can see. We start in person next week. Oh, okay. Because I've had a couple of bridge students email me, and they're going to have to, they've already dropping classes. And I'm like, good gosh, how you drop classes when you haven't even started meeting yet? That's pretty bad. Evidently, the teachers suck at technology is all I can say. I just wondered that I got a couple of emails yesterday from bridge students. Exactly. And I tell all my advisees, especially my bridge advisees, to use Rate My Professor. And I tell them, if it's 2 or below, get the hell out. And they don't listen to me. They think Hubert's crazy, just like my kids do. So 124 is equal to, good for you. How many, you have got to be kidding me. Blackboard has been around since the Civil War, just about. It's so decrepit. I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing. 8 squared minus 4 well, that's good. Miss, I was going to ask who said that up there. Blackboard is primitive. It is very primitive, and it doesn't work half the time. That's why Hubie don't use it. Oh, Mr. Matney, you said you how many of your professors on Rate My Professor did you call up and they were like below 2? How many? So like if you had 5 teachers, how many were below 2 and you had to switch 2 and you switched out? That makes for a better semester when you switch them out. Yeah. And see, at Clemson, I was old school. In fact, when I was a senior, it was just now getting to where you could register on the computer. So we had to, they would, in the stairwells, they would put all the classes for math and English in the different buildings, and you had to find your class on this printout, this massive printout. and you find the classes like for Math 110, and you look for the teacher that you wanted, and you took that section. And of course, you had to get there early because the best teachers were taken first and their classes would fill up first. But now y'all got it made. Y'all got it made because all y'all have to do is look on Rate My Professor and pick the best teachers. And that's a whole lot easier than the way we had it. Some people would camp out, especially if you were a senior and you needed one class and you wanted the best teacher. You camped out in that stairwell or near that stairwell until the printout was put up. So, well, it's just like, and Mr. Matney, that's true. You could live beside a TV station, and if you ain't got the antenna, you can't get the TV stations. Okay, and if you've got, you can have a teacher with all the credentials in the world, and if they can't tell you how to make a ham sandwich, you might as well just stay home and read the book. So 124 is equal to 64a minus 4. And 128 is equal to 64a. Divide by 64, divide by 64. A is equal to 2. And now you take that and plug it back in for A. Now I want everybody to finish the problem by putting that 2 in there, using the shortcut, combining terms, and get a finished product of f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. That's what you want. So go ahead and plug A back in, and I'm going to give you a minute. It shouldn't take you more than a minute to plug that A in and get this. So go ahead and do that. Miss Davis, did you get a chance to start on any of the homework?
No, I ended up getting stuck.
That's Oh, you got stuck on homework?
No, I got stuck at work.
Oh,
I
okay.
got locked out of my car, and I had to wait for a locksmith to come let me in, and then not good.
Dang old, do what I do. Dang old, take you a key and you put you a key somewhere that you know where it is. My truck has had a key in a secret place for ever since 2011 when I bought it.
Yeah, we're gonna make a spare key this weekend because and yesterday.
And I hate to ask how much did that cost for locksmith? $100?
It was like $55.
Oh yeah, that's a tank of gas.
Yeah, or that's like 2 tanks of gas in my car. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've always, when I had the truck I had before this truck, I still have it. It's on the farm at the barn, but I had a hide key on it too. It was under the bumper.
Yeah, I've always had a spare key, but I actually just recently got this car because my old car, someone hit me. So I just hadn't gotten a spare key yet, and yeah.
Mr. Matney, the only problem with that is that car might start leaking on that door now. That's the only problem. If you pry, especially these new doors, these new cars that have such thin metal, I hope it don't start leaking. So I'm glad you were able to get it in, but when you pry those things open, they never will get conformed back. I hope it does though. Okay, it was already right. Okay, so we've got this, we got the A, so we're gonna plug the A back in, and it's just all algebra 2 after that. So f of x is equal to 2 times x plus 3, quantity squared, minus 4. This is your chapter 2 stuff. You know, horizontal shift is skinny, and it's got a vertical shift. And it's a parabola because it's a square. So that's your chapter 2 stuff. All right, now we're going to use shortcut number 1. X squared plus 6x plus 9. 2x squared plus 12x plus 18. 2x squared plus 12x plus 14. And that, sir, ladies and gentlemen, is your quadratic equation. And that should be your answer. And you should feel good about yourself. So you don't have to put expensive stuff on your vehicle. Okay. So that's the homework question, and it's the same question as the other question. So make sure you can do that because that is a test question. Everybody feel good about it? It's the colors that did it, wasn't it? I just go ahead and admit it. It was the colors. Dang old Fruity Pebbles. All right. So now we're ready to go back to completing the square. Now the other day I did completing the square with a mixed number. Okay, not a mixed number, an imaginary number. And that was whenever you have the square root of a negative, you have to put it in terms of I. And that was probably level 5. So now we're going to get into level 6 and 7. And that is when you have a number, A is greater than 1. Okay, A is greater than 1. So far, we've been doing these. F of x is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 6. F of x is equal to negative x squared minus 2x plus 7. Okay, and the A character was always 1. Well, what happens if it's not 1? And what happens if A is greater than 1 or A is less than negative 1? In other words, what do you do? Well, you have to factor out. Okay, so if you have a negative 2 or a positive 4 or a negative 3 and a positive 2 in front of this, then you have to factor it out. Now, when do you do it? Well, you do it after you move after you move C, after you move C and add the blanks. That's when you factor out whatever you need to factor out. So we're going to start easy with a positive A, and we're going to start real easy. So here we go. F of x is equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 7. All right, so there is we've been doing these. This is what we've been doing. Been doing A is equal to 1, positive or negative 1. Okay, that's what we've been doing. Now we've got a 2 out front. So we're going to have to address it, but first we've got to set equal to 0 and move C and add our blanks. So 2x squared minus 4x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. I feel like I've done this before. Maybe we've already. Have we covered factoring out? No, we covered factoring out a negative. Okay, this is factoring out. We've covered factoring out a negative. That's what we covered. Okay, the same principles apply here as the negative when factoring out. Whatever you factor out here, you've got to multiply by this, by that blank over there on the right-hand side. So I'm going to factor out a 2. That's going to give me x squared minus 2x plus blank is equal to 7 plus 2 times blank. And I'm going to take my handy dandy red highlighter and I'm going to color that 2. Whatever I factor out here, it goes with this blank over here. Now remember, I told you to take my word for it. Okay? I could show you the derivation, but that would go into another way of completing the square, which might confuse you. So I'd rather you trust me and just say this versus me confusing you with another way of completing the square. Okay? So now we can complete the square because A, or that coefficient, is 1. So now we can complete the square. So what's 2 divided by 2? That's 1, Hubert. And 1 squared is 1. And now we are ready to finish. 2 times x minus 1, quantity squared, is equal to 9. Now what does that 2 tell us? And I'm going to highlight it in yellow because remember in chapter 2, what does A tell us? Starts with an O. R. I. E. I'm waiting for somebody. Thank you, Mr. Cash. Thank you. Orientation. And this one is stretch. 2 tells us stretched on the y-axis and compressed on the x-axis. So that means it's going to be narrow or skinny. Okay. We've got a horizontal shift of 1 to the right, and we've got a vertical shift of 9. So let's find our x-intercepts. Now, I'm not going to do the f of x. I'm not going to do that. F of x is equal to 2 times x minus 1, quantity squared minus 9. Okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let y'all do that. I'm on the vertex. I'll put it over here. Vertex is 1 comma negative 9. Now we're going to solve. Divide by 2, x minus 1, quantity squared, is equal to 9 halves. Take the square root of both sides. And that's going to give me x minus 1 is equal to 3 over the square root of 2. And that's going to be 3, and square root of 2 times square root of 2 is going to be 3 square root of 2 over 2, because you rationalize the denominator. And I'm going to do that for you to kind of knock your memory loose a little bit. You got the square root of 2 in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2, which is going to give me 3 square root of 2 over the square root of 4, which is 2. And then I'm going to bring this over as 2 over 2 plus 2 over 2 And our final answer in exact form with the radical is x is equal to 3 square root of 2 plus 2 divided by 2. And you can't see that. I'm going to rewrite it. Let me just rewrite it over here. I'm going to fold this in half. So x is equal to 3 square root of 2 plus 2 divided by 2. Now that's in exact form. That's your x-intercept in exact form. Now we're going to write it the way that the MyLabs Plus will want you to do it. Plus 3 square root of 2 plus 2 over 2, comma, minus 3 square root of 2 plus 2 over 2. Now that's the way they're going to want it, because each square root symbol has a positive or negative in front of it. And that's where this comes from. So remember, and this is a red highlighter, remember that with each radical, there's a positive and a negative in front of it. Now, I'm going to change these into decimals because radicals are worthless in the real world because you're wanting to plot it on a number line. So 3 times 1.4, 3 times 1.4, and you could take it out 1.4, 1, 1, 4, whatever. Okay, plus 2 divided by 2, and negative 3 times 1.4 plus 2 divided by 2. Okay, and bring that up a little bit. There we go. All right, so 3 times 1.4 is 4.2. So 4.2 plus 2 divided by 2. And negative 4.2 plus 2 divided by 2. 4.2 plus 2 is 6.2, and $6.20 divided by 2 is $3.10. So that's one x-intercept. Negative 4.2, you owe $4.20. You give that person $2, you still owe them $2.20. Divide that, and that's negative 1.1. And no, you should not need a calculator for any of this. Now, there are some people that take this this square root of 2 to like 3 digits. But what are we doing? We're sketching a graph. You don't need to carry that. In order to sketch the graph, you don't need 3 or 4 digits. You just need 1.4. So you choose your battles. If you want to carry square root of 2 to 5 digits and carry those 5 digits out through all of this, knock yourself out. But this is just for sketching a graph. Okay, so we've got, okay, what was our original y-intercept? Our y-intercept is -7. All right, so I'm going to write this down. Y-intercept is -7, 0, -7. Our vertex is 1, -9. And our x-intercepts are -1.1, comma 0, and -3.1, comma 0. All right, now I want y'all to sketch the graph. Give me the domain, range, increasing, decreasing, and line of symmetry. Go ahead. Yeah, the good thing about this class is y'all don't have to do anything. Y'all just keep meeting the way we're meeting. Isn't that nice? Especially for the bridge students. Y'all ain't got to worry about meeting. I told them, I said, when the beginning of the semester, when they put these classes together, I said, y'all better start using this format. I said, because Clemson ain't going to open when we open. And sure enough, they didn't. But what do I know? I'm just a teacher. It'll all be gone after November anyway. You wish you had an in-person class. Oh, come on. I love this format. I love it because it's convenient. It is. It's easier to learn. Well, if you think about it, there's no difference. Yeah, that's why I like it, Mr. Matney. I like it because I ain't got to kill myself to try to get to class on time. I'm right here at the house. That's why I like it. But if you think about it, Mr. Cash, there's no difference in what I'm doing here than what I'm doing in the classroom. Except it's a smaller board. That's it. And I've got my whiteboard. I just don't use it very often because I have to calibrate it. I use it whenever necessary. So, yeah, Mr. Lynch, I had a argument with my department head about that, and I told her, I said, I'm not doing it. I said, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to ask people to change horses in midstream. Yeah. So make sure you put that in your evaluations, that you love the format. Those of you that don't like it, y'all just need to be quiet. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see. Drive 30 minutes to sit through a PowerPoint that now see, that's what irritates me, Mr. Lynch. Some of these teachers, if I was to do what some of these teachers do, oh my gosh, I don't think I could sleep at night. It's awful to keep up with which day I go, and some classes change week to week, and most teachers don't lecture while we're there. What do they do if they don't lecture? I just wonder. They say it's Q&A. Oh. Waste my time. Tell us how you really feel, Miss Arabia. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and 0, -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 and -9. 1 and -9. 1.1 negative and 3.1. And our domain is all reals. If you get the domain wrong on these tests, don't tell anybody, because 99% of them are going to be all real numbers. Range is equal to negative what? -9 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to 1, and increasing from 1 to infinity. Line of symmetry always goes through the vertex, which is at x is equal to 1. And you feel good about yourself. Now that was a 6. Now let's do a 7. What's the difference in 6 and 7? Well, 7 this number right here is going to be odd. instead of even. So it's going to make a fraction, which makes all of you go into failure mode. So here we go. F of x is equal to, I'm going to use the same 2x, what was that, 2x squared? 2x squared minus 3x minus 7. 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, now I want you, I'm going to give you 3 minutes because it's 9:47 right now. Well, go ahead and get it started because some of y'all will go into convulsions. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get it started. Put you on the stopwatch right now. 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get it, set it equal, set it up. We may not get through the whole problem, but at least we'll get to where we can solve it and find the vertex. Because I know some of y'all will spontaneously combust around 10 o'clock, so I don't want that to happen. So any other stories about your teachers? I love to hear stories about other teachers. I don't need to know who they are, but I do love to hear stories because there's some of them that I'm like, really? Why ain't you taking me for probability and stats, Mr. Matney? God, you could have been taking me for 2 of these classes. What's up with that? Didn't fit in your schedule? Or at 8 o'clock, you didn't like 8 o'clock. Oh, back when you were taking, asked us to calculate 4 plus 5. That's when I realized now that's a funny quote. That's when I realized she was useless. Okay, so I got to hurry up because some of y'all are going to explode. All right, I think I've got like what, 5 minutes? No, I've got 10 minutes. Oh, I was looking at the clock wrong. I got plenty of time. All right, so I'm going to factor out of 2. Well, okay. Now, there are sometimes I have to ask for help on decimals and subtraction of decimals, but usually I can do addition pretty good. Okay, I'm going to take my highlighter out. Now, why do I keep highlighting this? Because this is what you're going to forget on the test. So I keep highlighting it, and I will keep highlighting it until we have the test on completing the square. Okay? So now I'm going to put in a step here that all of you need because you're going to screw this up. Some of y'all are because y'all suck at fractions because you had teachers told you to use the calculator. So here we go. I'm going to take B and divide it by 2. and square it. Okay. Some of us are clinically brain dead, and we must respect that. Sound like my daughter. All right, 3 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2, quantity squared. Somebody tell me what I did there. I multiplied by the what?
The reciprocal.
Exactly. So you got to remember that. That's some of that elementary math. And that's going to give me 3 over 4, which is equal to 9/16. Now that right there is what y'all suck at. Y'all can learn completing the square 1 through 6 all day long. But when that comes into a fraction, oh my gosh, y'all's heads explode. Not everybody in here. I'm talking about students, some students in general. So if you suck at fractions, you need to write this down right here, and you need to learn it. You need to learn what I just did. So 9/16 goes here, and 9/16 goes here. Now that gives us shortcut number 2 here because of the negative. So that's going to be 2 times x minus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to, well, I got to do some condensing over here. I got to get that red pen out because I can cancel 2, that's 2 over 1. I can cancel that 2, and that 16 is 8. And 56/8 is 7. So I'm going to change that into 56/8. Hopefully my multiplication tables tell me that 8 times 7 is 56. So I just changed got my common denominator. And that's going to be plus 9/8. And that's going to be 2 times x minus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to, that's going to be 67 over 8. I think 56. 7 times 8 is 56, I think. So that's how I got 56/8. I've changed this into a common denominator of 8. And 56 plus 9 is not 67, it's 65. Thank y'all for correcting me. Appreciate it. No suck. Okay, so that, no, don't forget now, our y-intercept is -7, so don't forget that. Need to write that down. So let's put this on the next page. So 2 times x minus 3/4 is equal to 65/8. Now we know that our y-intercept is 0, -7, and our vertex is 3/4, comma, -65/8. And of course you can, you know that's going to be 8 1/4, 8 1/8, because 8 we're going to 65 8 times. So that's not a big deal. You just get the decimal in your head and sketch it on the graph. So now let's solve. Divide by 2 over 1. Divide by 2 over 1. X minus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to 65 over 8 multiplied by 1 over 2. Now I'm putting these extra steps in for you because I do know that students suck at fractions. So I'm trying to knock some cobwebs loose and say, okay, if you divide by 2, you divide by 2 over 1, which means that you divide by 2 over 1, which means you multiply by 1/2. Hopefully that'll knock some cobwebs loose along with this right here. So right now, some of y'all should be saying, oh yeah, I remember. You multiply by the reciprocal and do stuff like that. Hopefully that's knocking some of the cobwebs loose. All right, x minus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to 65 over 16. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 3/4 is equal to the square root of 65 over 4. And bring that over x, and here's the exact answer. The square root of 65 plus 3 all over 4. And that can be written as square root of 65 plus 3 over 4 negative square root of 65 plus 3 over 4. Now that's going to be the way the homework, or the, don't forget to put your parentheses on that too, because the homework will ask you to put it in parentheses if they ask you to write it like this. Okay, now I'm telling you that so on the test you will write it like you're supposed to. Don't be lazy and then ask me to go back and change it, because I'm not going to do it. If it says exact, that's what they want, or this is what they want. Okay, and you got to put a positive or negative right there in order to make it count. Now I'm going to change it into decimals, because I know that 65, what is the square root of 64? Somebody tell me right quick. The square root of 64 is 8, right? So the square root of 65 is 8.1. So I'm going to go over here and say positive or negative 8.1 plus 3 divided by 4. Okay, 8.1 plus 3 is 11.1. So that's 11.1 divided by 4. And negative 8.3 plus 3 is negative 5.1 over 4. Well, 4 will go in there 2 times, and that'll leave, let's see, that'll leave 3.1. That'll be almost, we'll say 7/8. Okay, because 2.8 would be 11.2. So I'm going to say 2.78. And I could be wrong. Somebody do that in your calculator and see what you get. 11.1 divided by 4. And then 4 will go into 5 one time, and that'll leave 11. And 4 will go into 11 2 times, and then maybe 8. So somebody take negative 5.1 and divide by 4 and see if you get negative 1.28 or close to it. Did somebody check 11.1 divided by 4? So, and that's our X-intercepts. So I'm going to draw a little graph here. 1.275, really? Okay, thank you, close enough. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. All right, so 0, -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3/4 will be in this direction, and that's 8 1/8. So 8 1/8 is going to be right there. We've got a 2.78, and we've got a negative 1.28. There you go. Now, of course, you can check these with your calculator. All you got to do is type in y is equal and do 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 and check it to see if it looks like that. Domain, all real numbers. Range, -65/8 to infinity, decreasing from negative infinity to 3/4, increasing from 3/4 to positive infinity. And okay, present and stop the recording. And all